Bournemouth have just battered Newcastle United at St James's Park 4-1. I knew it was going to be a tough game, but I didn't expect this type of performance. Bournemouth were absolutely sensational on the day. And before we get into Newcastle United, I think we need to do with Bournemouth justice and give them credit for that performance. It was a superb performance from Bournemouth. Justin Kluivert caused us problems, so many problems all day, every day. Newcastle United just could not cope with Bournemouth's intensity or their high press. And it's a bit ironic that Patrick Kluivert's son comes to St James's Park and bags a hat-trick. You know what? Full credit to the lad, full credit to Bournemouth, and they have been probably the best side I've seen at St James's Park this season. Patrick Kluivert was tremendous today. It was a complete attacking performance. He was finding pockets of space. He was linking up attacks. He was arriving in the box late, and he thoroughly deserved his hat-trick, and they were all well-taken goals. But everybody on that Bournemouth starting 11 was superb. Semenyo caused us problems. Ryan Christie was a nuisance in midfield. Brooks was causing Lewis Hall problems all day. Huijsen at the back was tremendous. Utara was playing as a centre forward, which isn't his natural position. His pace caused us problems all day. Milos Kerkez down that left-hand side was causing us problems. Their intensity, their work rate, their relentless pressing, their front four was simply outstanding. I said I was worried about Bournemouth in my preview because I've watched a lot of Bournemouth this season. I said they were the first team and probably the only team that could match Newcastle United's intensity, and boy did they deliver. They were tremendous, and they had quite a few injuries today, remember. Their bench was full of youngsters, and this is what I was worried about because Bournemouth are a real problem. They beat Man United away from home, they drew with Chelsea, and now they've just beaten Newcastle at St James's Park. This wasn't any old Newcastle. This was Newcastle that was on a 9-win streak, and if I'm being perfectly honest, Iraola has done a wonderful job. What a manager he is. Their recruitment, putting their squad of players together, has been absolutely terrific. And in my personal opinion, I think that's the best away performance at St James's Park in a long time. I mean, they had an XG of 2.41. They created 4 big chances, had 19 shots. They were just simply outstanding today. They matched our intensity. They were tenacious, and they won every single individual battle. What I liked about them, they weren't just aggressive off the ball. They played on the ball as well. They moved the ball extremely well. The decisiveness and the pace we just could not cope with. Bournemouth did in Newcastle what Newcastle have been doing to teams. Fluid off all movement, and they ran us ragged, to be honest. Bournemouth thoroughly deserved their win, and Newcastle were just chasing shadows all day long. It is frustrating, but when a team comes out and puts a performance out like that, you've just got to hold your hands up and say you were the better team. You dominated on the day and you thoroughly deserved their win. If the game had finished 2-1, I would be sitting here saying that scoreline flattered Newcastle United. We deserved to get beat 4-1 today because we weren't very good at all. Nobody in that Newcastle United team stood out to me. I don't know if it was complacency or we just looked legged or we just could not find the energy to match Bournemouth. And this was our trickiest game because the team with the most high turnovers this season. So we had to expect this. But look, in my match preview, I did say when we eventually lose a game, I don't want to be reactionary because we've been on a terrific run and a game like this was bound to happen. Every team does it. Man City used to do it when they went on their long runs. Liverpool have done it. Eventually we were going to get beat and drop points, but I did not expect us to get beat 4-1. But it wasn't just getting beat today. We were outclassed, outperformed, outplayed on that football pitch today. We were miles off it. Complacency, and we just couldn't get into the rhythm of the game. We couldn't match their intensity and we couldn't cope with their high press, and that's being brutally honest. I think our lack of pace in our defence showed because Bournemouth's pace, the way they just so direct and how quickly on transition caused us a lot of problems. I thought we were second best all over the pitch. And I always say, when you're losing games, sometimes you're just not good on the day, whether that be as a collective team performance, sometimes you're just not at the races. And that was Newcastle United today. But one thing you've got to do in these types of games when things aren't going your way, things aren't coming off for you, you've got to win your individual battles. And I don't think any one of our players won our individual battles today. I thought Bournemouth's setup was so clever. They wanted to use the width to keep Semenyo high and wide, and that's to keep the ball out the central areas because that's how we dominate games, through the central positions. Bournemouth was so clever. If you look at the average positioning of Newcastle United against Bournemouth, Bournemouth is completely more, there's more width than Bournemouth's play, and they used that to their advantage. It was so clever from Iraola. But getting back to Newcastle United, I just think the squad looked tired. looked out of ideas, were misplacing passes, we just couldn't get in any rhythm. And I think Eddie Howe was reactive rather than proactive in his substitutions. Those substitutions should have come a lot earlier because you could tell we're second best in the game. When you're second best in the game, you've got to try and change it because it's just going to go one way, and it did go one way. So those substitutions have to come earlier. If Isak's not having a bad game, you've got to be ruthless and bring him off, because sometimes they do just have bad games. Sometimes it is just a bad day at the office, and you've got to be ruthless as a manager. This is one criticism I give of Eddie Howe. If I ever criticize him, it's because he's too reactive rather than being proactive, and that's not a good trait. Just in our general play, there was far too many mistakes. We're misplacing passes, we're poor with decision making, and there was no ball appreciation at all. But I just think if we do have real ambitions of getting in the UEFA Champions League or qualifying for the UEFA Champions League, we've got to bring in at least 2 additions. I think our starting 11 is absolutely tremendous, but they need some help. They need some help. And if you look at Bournemouth today, they picked up Dean Huijsen to start the season. If he's available, these are the types of players we've got to be bringing in, because he showed at Juve, he showed at Roma when he went on loan that he has unbelievable quality. And I'm very surprised Juve let him go, but they did. And if we were battling out with Bournemouth for his signature, for me, there's only one winner. And I think Paul Mitchell's been here long enough to have a direct plan in our recruitment policy. You don't need to spend 200 million. That's not what I'm asking for. I'm asking to be a bit clever, be a bit creative in your recruitment. Can we loan somebody with an obligation or an option to buy? Why don't you test the waters? Players like this that can help, we'll go and look for a centre-back, see if we can get one on loan with an option or an obligation to buy. Be a bit more creative. We don't need to splash 200, 300 million every single window, because that's unrealistic and nobody's expecting that at all. But just let's try, be a bit creative. Looks like we're just not even doing anything. Look, we weren't going to win every game. That's completely unrealistic. Eventually we were going to drop points. Eventually a performance like this was going to come out. But I do think the signs were there on Wednesday night. I think against Wolves, we afforded them a lot of chances. And I said in my preview, if we give Bournemouth these amount of chances and these clear-cut chances, they're going to punish us, and the credit to Bournemouth because they thoroughly deserve their win. And if I do see one thing towards Bournemouth, been seen from the start of the season, I've been so impressed with their ability. Even when they were losing games at the beginning of the season, they were losing games, but they were very good. They were still very good. And eventually those wins were going to come. And those wins are now coming. And where are they in the league? They're like 8th, 7th. And I really, really, really want Bournemouth to get into Europe. But look, we can just look at this as a bad day at the office. The game's happened. There's no point in dwelling on it. Good teams react well. Now it's time for Newcastle to react well away to Southampton. Actually, I want to say one more thing. Do you know what I was annoyed about today? How easy we were to get pulled apart. We're moving in areas that we shouldn't have to. With 2 centre-backs, we're getting drawn into midfield or getting drawn into wide areas. Sometimes you've just got to hold your ground, keep your shape, allow Bournemouth to have the ball. They were moving us apart and they were creating gaps for them to run through. I think that's what was frustrating about today. Yes, I can accept getting beat, but when you just get picked and pulled apart, that's the annoying thing for me. But I want to hear from you guys. Let me know in the comments below what you made of that performance, what you made of Bournemouth as well, because they surprised me. Now, to be honest, I expected this kind of performance from Bournemouth, but I want to know what you guys think about this Newcastle United performance. If you could bring in 2 players this January window, who would it be and why? Let me know in the comments below. But again, it's about how you react to adversity. So we must go to Southampton and get a victory. But guys, once again, if you've enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and until next time, away the lads.